Hey all, here are OS Reviews. Today we're taking a closer look at the Medhub. This is an interesting smart meditation tracker, or you can think of it as a smart pillbox. Essentially, you're able to pop in various vitamins and other medication into its different containers, and then you can set it up using a companion app on your phone. It connects using Bluetooth, and then you can set up reminders. It will tell you when to take your medicine, perhaps multiple times during the day, once a week, as well as which compartment it's located in. But the part that makes it a little more special is it also has a built-in heart rate monitor. So after or before you take your medicine, you can also track your heart rate as well as your blood oxygen levels. And it's also moisture proof, so it will prevent, again, any moisture in the air from damaging the medicine potentially. This is a product that will be hitting Indiegogo initially, so what you're looking at here is just a pre-production sample. We also have a cable here for charging. It uses micro USB. Type-C would have been nicer to see, but it is what it is. Below the device, we also have a quick user manual that tells you how to set it up. Taking a look at the device itself, it is definitely the most premium feeling pillbox that I've seen. Oftentimes there's cheap ones that you can get at your local pharmacy that sells for just a few bucks. This feels like a much more solid build with some aluminum and metal accents going on. It's easy enough to put into a backpack or something like that for transportation. It also comes with a lanyard strap, which is made out of this synthetic leather material, and then it's actually strapped onto the bottom portion of the charging port. Otherwise, we also have access on the top here to the part which has the PPG optical sensor for measuring your heart rate just by putting your finger over it. Using your index finger is a recommended position, and it also acts as the power key. So if you tap on it, you actually can wake up the entire thing, and there's actually a ring here that acts as a notification light that glows blue, which is quite neat. The front here, this pill shape, is actually a display, which is OLED, so it is very bright and energy efficient. That's the part that contains the anti-moisture part, so you can hear it rattle and shake. It's made out of these tiny little beads that suck out moisture from the air, and after, say, 6 months or a year of use, you can actually replace those beads. So what we do is actually we press down on this compartment here, and it ejects out like so. This is where we can access the medications and the pills, but also the part that contains the beads on the end cap here. Now the compartments here, we have what looks like 4 of them on board, and they're just made out of this translucent material. They snap shut when you release them, but otherwise that's where you can pop in the pills, and it claims to hold up to 7 days or a week's worth of medication. Of course, that will vary a bit depending on how much you need to consume, but for the average user, that seems to be appropriate. Alright, so next let's take a closer look at the companion app and how to set it up. Here's the app, Medhub Smart, and it's going to tell us to bind the box. It's actually found it. Since it's turned on, I'm going to confirm it, and afterwards we should be ready to go. Device also shows that it's paired, as you can see there, and I can tap on the plus here to basically set it up, and you can see visualizations for the different containers that are on board. Interestingly, there's even a mode for 5 slots, but as we saw here, the device only has 4 small boxes for this current, at least early prototype, so maybe there's going to be different size versions in the future. We can name our box, so I'm going to tap on just OS reviews for now. We can turn on or off these reminders. So for example, this is going to be reminders to have daily medicines or daily vitamins, versus I can create even a separate little name just for when I want to put in medication that might be a bit more specific or for someone else. So you can add different sets if you are changing the medication contents. But let's turn this one on right now. We have 4 slots. Tap on the first one here. I can enter a description for the medication. This is going to be just a health product. Next step, I can type in the name. It's just going to be vitamin C. Next step, and I can choose a time and start day and end date. So it's going to be for this current week. I can turn this on, which is the reminder settings. I can choose what days to consume it. So let's just try and say on Monday, and the dosage is just going to be 1 time a day, 1 tablet a day. At what time do you want to eat it? 8 a.m. for example, and I can tap on done just to save those settings. But afterwards you can also customize or edit what is in these boxes just by tapping on them to rename it or change the contents or kind of remind yourself of what you are consuming. It's a pretty attractive user interface, and the calendar here gives you, again, a quick look at what days you've actually consumed those medications. After which point, in terms of the notifications, it does work decently. The display will show this. For example, we currently have, again, how much remaining of the pill inside of each of its containers, and if I've taken that or not, and again, in which particular container, small box it is in. And that part does work pretty well. When it rings, it tells you that green part is the one that you should be taking. Of course, it doesn't actually have a sensor inside of the box itself to actually know if you've taken that pill or not. So it's reminding you both through the device with a mono beep, in addition through the app, which will kind of ring and vibrate if you have it running in the background on your phone. But if you've actually taken it or not, you have to still confirm on the app. So under health, for example, you can then say, this was the alarm that rang for the vitamin C. I can tap on taken it, or I can edit this into not taken. In which case it will say that this is something that's overdue. In terms of the heart rate, the app should be able to also record those sessions and save them into the app for looking at historical info. I'm going to try this measurement one more time, 58 beats per minute. Let's try refreshing it, and indeed, the content has been transferred over. Software definitely still needs to have a few improvements before the final version for consumers is at a polished state, I would say. You can see sometimes it has a message, the not time. It hasn't detected a data for a past day in its history, but that could definitely be improved in terms of the grammar and also maybe preventing those messages or at least highlighting them a little better when you're setting up the app for the first time. So it could use a little bit of polishing, but overall main functionality works. One thing I will say though is, again, the app should have something like the battery status. That's something that you don't currently see. So how much charge is remaining inside of the box. It's also not displayed on the screen, so it's a little hard to guess. But I would say that if you have Bluetooth turned on sporadically, it should last you through, at least a few weeks before you need to recharge it again. Otherwise, one more thing is it doesn't seem to have the blood oxygen level function completely ready yet. That's still using the optical heart rate sensor to give you an estimate. It's still using that same hardware, but it would be nice to see that maybe added soon using that software update. So that is more or less it as far as our hands-on review of the Medhub, or really just a first look at it. I think the concept here is pretty clever. The fact that it's one of the most fully featured smart medication trackers on the market. This isn't a completely new idea. About a year or two ago, we checked out another Bluetooth-connected smart Pillbox, but that one was pretty simple. It just showed you reminders. This one extends on it by giving you things like the anti-moisture compartment that you can switch out. It also adds the function of the heart rate and blood oxygen tracking, but for those who are taking complicated medication or perhaps easily forget, it could be a great way to remind yourself and know exactly where you've popped your pills if, for example, all of those medications have a similar color or size. So you can check out more details if you are interested in the links down below, but for now that's been our video. That's been the Medhub Smart Connected Medication Tracker.